We got a 2005 Grand Caravan here. The reason why the wheel's off, we're doing some other work on it. This video is about the blower motor. He said it was coming on and off intermittently, and then finally just came off. And then I started up today and brought it in the shop here, and it was on. I could turn it on. And then as I was working on other stuff, it ended up not coming on anymore. So I'll show you how to test that, test the resistor, and make sure you're getting, sometimes the resistors go bad, and I'll show you how to test that. And then we'll look at this motor. And anyway, I already tested it out, so I know the motor's bad. It's kind of a pain in the butt job. There's a few bolts that are real hard to get to, and you got to pull the carpet back and the insulation. It helps to have a flex extension on one of the bolts, but we'll get into that a little bit. First, I'll show you how to test it and what you're looking for, and then we'll start taking that blower motor apart. All right, so the first thing you want to do is remove your glove box here. You don't need any tools for that. Of course, all Caravan owners have a glove box full of crap, so you're going to lose all that on the floor. Anyway, you see these little ends here? Just take your fingers and pull in on the sides of the glove box, and that'll release it from up here. And then it's going to rotate down, and there's three. It just hangs on there. The middle one kind of pushes out, the other two push up, so I just kind of, whenever I take these out, I always just start on this end and then kind of work it out. And you will lose everything out of the glove box probably, so that's annoying. Anyway, this is your resistor, blower resistor. We're going to check this first. Sometimes this can be bad on these, and you don't want to replace the motor, which is kind of a pain if it's just a resistor. So we're going to turn the key. I'm just going to turn the key on real quick and show you how to test this. You just need a test light or a power probe. I'm going to use the test light, and then I'll use the power probe later to show you what's going on with the motor. Alright, so I just plugged the power port into the cigarette lighter here. And all it does is supply you a ground and a 12-volt power source. You can see here, I got my light grounded, and then I just touch on the power side, and so that's just test your light. Now you don't need that if you're just going to test power coming out of your blower. Just find a good ground somewhere. So here's your blower motor, and it's on high right now. And we're not getting anything coming out of the motor, obviously. So this top wire here should be your power wire, the green wire. So when I press in that, if this blower resistor was good, it should light up. You can see there it's lit up. And it's on high. So we're going to check the ground real quick too. So let me switch my leads, and I'm going to put the test light on ground, and then or on positive, and then when we touch this black wire here, it should light up, and that would be a good ground. And then I believe this wire here, the blue one coming in on this side, is a ground, all-time ground. So if you have a good ground coming out of here, it's going to be good on this side. So we're just going to test this one. Let me switch the leads on it real quick, put it on the positive, and then we'll test this ground coming out. If this ground coming out's good, then obviously it's got power and ground to the motor, and the motor's not turning. So the motor's bad, but I'll show you another way to test it too, just to triple check it. Alright, so I moved that over to the power on the power port. So this wire here should be all-time ground, and it's lit up. So that one's good. This second wire, the blue and white wire, should be the ground on the other side of this resistor. And you can see that's lit up. Now the rest of these wires are for the speeds on the control. So they would light up depending on where you're at on the control knob, on the heater control. So this resistor is good, definitely high is good, and the power coming out, it's providing power coming out of here, so that's all good. It's got a good ground. So the only thing left is your, you basically eliminated your knobs and your resistor at this point. So the only thing left now would be to change the motor. And I'm going to put a power probe on here just to show you that it's not going to come on, but we're 100% sure that's what the problem is, and it's not the resistor, it's not the control panel. Alright, so I got the ground on the black, and then when I put this power probe on here, hit the button, it should turn the blower motor on. And there's nothing coming out of it. So the blower motor's dead. So it's 100% confirmed. First thing we're going to do is take off the recirculator motor on the bottom of it. It's hooked to the bottom of your motor here, and that's what moves your recirculator vent inside the motor. the air diverter. So we're going to remove that. It's two 8mm bolts, and then we'll pull that down, and then we'll start pulling this cage out that holds the motor in. Alright, so that's your recirculator actuator motor. Right here is two 8mm bolts. There's one, I already took them off obviously. There's one back here in the front and one in the back. And then that just pulls straight down and out like that. And now we get to do the fun part. We got some bolts here. I'll just take them out and I'll go about one by one. You're going to have to pull this carpet back and get way back in there on the one back by the firewall. It's pretty ignorant the way they got it set up. But we're just going to take out these front two, and then I'll show you as I go along where the other ones are at. Alright, so I got it removed. I'm just going to show you. It'd be easier to show you with it out than it is to try to show you underneath there. Go ahead and push your grommet through for your blower motor in through this cage here, and this is how it is when it's under there. And it will get stuck on your diverter, so just kind of push the middle of the diverter loose, push it up as you're pulling this down. And this bolt here, you go from the top, so you got to use it comes in from this way, so you got to use the open end. And then you have this bolt in the front, this bolt, and this bolt are all easy to get to. So you got 4 bolts that are real easy to get to, and then they stuck this one in the back. And you'll know if yours has been changed before because your insulation will be gone right here, or you can remove it. I went ahead and took a sharp knife and just cut it out, and then I'll just set it back in there when I'm done. But if your insulation is all in here still, then you still got the original motor. So once you get the insulation out of the way, cut it out of the way, you have this back one back here, and where it's at, you can use a mirror to kind of see where it's at, but you have your blower motor wires coming through here. Just kind of look back there and off to the left a little towards the driver's side, and that's where it's at. So that's the hardest part of this whole job, is getting that out. Keep an eye on your diverter. This is your diverter right here. This goes from outside air to inside air, and this normally is all the way to the right here. So you want to remember when you put this motor back in that this is off to the right. So you can see here, so you can slide it back and forth. So that's where it's normally at, is right there. So when you put it back up, make sure that's right there. So when you put your actuator motor on, everything's oriented right. So now you're down to the motor here. You got 3 bolts that hold the motor in, and then we should be able to slide it out. So I'm going to go ahead and take those bolts out. And they're going upward. I'll see if I can get the camera in there. Let me readjust the camera and see if I can get it up there. You got 3 8mm bolts to go upward, and then you should be able to sneak this out around this diverter here, like that. And here's the 3 bolts. You got one here, one here, one here. They're all 8mm. So we're going to go ahead and replace it, get the new one in here. Alright, so I got the new one in there. All you're doing is just putting it back up there, orient it right way. Have the wires where they're supposed to be going out this way. Put your 3 bolts back in and tighten them. Make sure your air diverter is all the way over here towards the passenger side as far as it can go. And now we're just going to put that cage on and put the bolts back in. And then we'll put the actuator on and then test it real quick. So I'll pick it back up. All you're doing is just putting the same bolts out that you back in that you took out. So I'll go ahead and finish putting this back together, and then we'll test it. Alright, so it's back together. We're just going to turn it back on. Hopefully the camera's picking that up. We got all the speeds back. It's working. So that's pretty much it for a blower motor on one of these. Once you get all the bolts back in and everything, you go ahead and put your insulation back up in there. You won't be able to see it once the carpet's back and the glove box is back in. The glove box just snaps back in. So like I said, the hardest part about this whole job is that back bolt. You can use a flexible extension. I actually didn't use that this time. I used a 1/4 inch knuckle. I put a piece of electrical tape around it to kind of study it, and then just got it out. It's a big pain in the butt. There's no way around that. So anyway, thanks for watching. Hopefully this will help you. Hopefully you'll know how to test your resistor. Hopefully yours is resistor, not the blower motor, because that's only 2 bolts and it comes right out, so it's a lot easier. And anyway, so that's it. Hope to see you on the next one. As always, God bless.